A way of life. Hope everybody's having a good weekend. Just wanted to come on here to talk about Jupiter conjunct Pluto. Um, Jupiter expands everything it touches. It rules growth, generosity, and blessings. Pluto is cold. Um, It could destroy and rebuild something or transform something. It also detoxifies and purges things. Jupiter's going to expand Pluto. This is also called the millionaire's conjunction. It comes from things that are hidden beneath the surface, like inheritance, banks, loans, or financial housing. There could be some form of blessings through tragedy. Unfortunately, Pluto rules death, so just keeping in mind this when this transit takes place, there may be a lot of deaths. You may experience a lot of deaths this year. So really, it's really important to know where that falls in your chart and um, you know, just be mindful that that's a great possibility. Um, Pluto deals with crisis, taboo things like sex. So a lot of those sex scandals might come up again, and death. Um, it could be emotional wealth too. It's not just money. That this is about. It could be emotional wealth or physical, um, psychological. That's what I meant. Psychological as well. Um, there may be inventions of things like telescopes and microscopes, things that you can't see with the naked eye. Um, the thing that you use to see like atoms and germs, stuff like that. Um, Capricorn also rules bones. So it could be like some inventions or discovery of like bones, or anthropology might become super popular at this time. Um, we'll be getting information from very old things like ancient things, dinosaur bones, hardcore facts, something in the science, even with astrology. Ancient astrology will come back. I talked about this in the Jupiter to Cap and Capricorn video. Um, because Capricorn rules like old age, the elderly. Um, a lot of things with this transit in that nature will come up. Very Capricorn and Pluto related. Um, the last time we had this transit was back in 2007 and 2008. So a transit almost never reenacts what it already reenacted. What it enacted. So whatever happened back in 2007 or 8 is not what's going to happen, but that's going to play a pretty big role, right? It'll be a theme, right? So whatever was happening for you at that time, you could expect that to come up again, but it'll be in a different way, right? Because we've learned our lessons, right? Pluto has been in Capricorn since the beginning of this year, just destroying and breaking down old structures, old ways of thinking, anything to do with our deepest desires, has really been challenging us to, come out of this old way of doing. So, it's not going to happen in the same way, but it's definitely still going to be a theme, right? But you'll have some kind of knowledge of this. You'll be prepared for this from last time when it happened last time. So you'll be wiser on how you deal with it, right? Capricorn is wisdom. Jupiter is wisdom, rather. Um, so there'll be more old school, more limitation. Just we're just not going to be so giving, right? um we're going to be very methodical on how we do anything. So that's what limitation, that's more limited, more conservative, not so liberal, um, more black and white, putting up boundaries. That's a good word for limitating or limitations. Putting up boundaries. Um, um, Putting up boundaries with cultures and not being so open minded when it comes to people's beliefs and their culture. Our belief systems are going to be more, we might go resort back to old belief systems. Like, I don't want to say it's going to be like old belief systems, but old belief systems, but in a newer way, right? It's not going to happen the same way it did, or a better yet, old belief systems that were used will come will remind us of, why we did things the way that we did and how we can build upon that, right? And break those cycles and kind of construct newer ways to work with those, right? Um, Racism, prejudice, this really is the conjunction that brought slavery upon us, this was really tough for me to kind of dig deep into this transit when it came to this, but I've tried to break it down in more smaller portions, and the basics of it is not that racism is going to come back, but we'll be aware of things that happened back then, right? And why they happened. Like the truth of those things will come out. Um, we'll have more exposure to sexuality, going back to that taboo stuff because it's Pluto. Um, this is like, because Jupiter is involved, it's law, right? So you could see people getting caught, going to prison for sex crimes that happened like 15 years ago. Same thing with, um, same thing with, like the racism, right? We'll be reminded of things that happened 400 years ago. Like, why did it happen? We might get more stories on it and more facts about it. And even some of the laws, like things will be revealed, right? 2020. Secrets, criminal behavior. Again, people will be getting caught for crimes and things that they did years ago. Um, yeah, this transit is not so bad, and we'll talk more about it as the year goes on. It'll come up again, I'm sure of it, and we'll be talking about it again. I just thought it was pretty interesting to research it to see kind of what are the themes that will be coming up for this year. So I hope this was helpful. Peace.